So that's us. That's
Yep.
us. We're definitely live. The little red live buttons came up. So I would love to introduce, guys, Alex Walker. He's travelled the globe with his education and worked backstage on shows and collaborated with various brands over the last 12 years. But his main concept and his main passion is the education side of it. And what he likes to do is take hairdressers that are already working in the salon or hairdressers are about to work in the salon and just guide them through and give them just small little snippets that are going to be easy for them to take back to the salon and adapt into their daily column. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring Alex in because his education side of it. In fact, you're looking, Alex, aren't you? You're looking to recruit 8 people to expand the
We
education.
we
Am I
have
correct?
we have already. Yeah, we
Oh,
have.
you've done it already.
We did it end of last year, and we had some kind of, for want of a better word, initiation. It wasn't as bad as it sounds, but we had a few days together in January in the Midlands, where everybody came from different parts of the UK, and we all kind of culminated together in the Midlands. Hired a couple of different venues and did some kind of train the trainer training, and now we're just at that stage of trying to get those guys busy, but they are currently kind of in the process of joining me when I'm delivering education. And then from there, it's about getting them their own bookings and developing what they do. But yeah, it's really exciting actually. It's really exciting to
That's
just try
that's
try and
awesome.
broaden the reach basically of what we're doing is the plan.
Exactly, because like you are like a one-man band, is
Mm,
so you can't be spreading yourself all over the place. So that's a fantastic idea.
yeah,
Fantastic. Right.
it's
So
nice.
what we wanted to do was we wanted to bring some education across so that Alex can talk you through some consultations that he would do if you've because we've all got those the inspo pictures that everybody brings in. So Alex is going to we're going to bring up a few pictures and Alex is going to talk through how he would go about speaking to the client with this inspo picture and what the haircut consists of and how he would go about tackling that specific haircut. So I'm just going to share the screen here and we're going to bring in a live one first picture.
Whilst we're sharing the screen as well, just I wanted to clarify for everybody watching, even if you're watching later on replay or whatever it is, right? These are kind of some of the key haircuts that when I'm delivering education, the salons and the stylists are bringing to me to say that they want to learn because their clients are bringing the pictures to them, right? So the whole thing's kind of a big circle, but from a education perspective, how we like understand what those haircuts need and how to create them, and then of course for the client, it's making sure we can do those type of haircuts depending on their hair type and all those different things, right?
Okay, first picture.
Okay, cool. So we'll start with the longer one to start with. Um, the obviously, as we all know, right, in the industry, and has always been the case, but especially now in the world we live in with social media and various, search platforms, and the knowledge available to clients is greater than it's ever been. And I think that more and more clients are bringing you pictures with a really bold idea of what they want to achieve, whereas previously they might have kind of had an idea but not really understood exactly what that idea looked like. And of course now they do, and they have pictures on their phones and you're scrolling through to look. But these type of haircuts, give them whatever name you want to, whether it will be a butterfly cut, a shag cut, a wolf cut, and whatever other weird and wonderful names that we want to give them. Whether we like them or not as hairdressers, fundamentally they're all, those type of haircuts are layered haircuts, but we have to understand the names that clients are using because it's relevant. And if a client brings you a picture with a name of a haircut you've never heard of, it makes us not look relevant. So that's the first thing I'd like to kind of get across. Whether we love them or hate them, the names are relevant and essential for understanding what a client means and what they are looking at with regards to their inspiration. But effectively, this haircut is a layered haircut. You know, I've seen this taught in a million different ways, and like the way in which we want you guys to understand it for your clients is effectively creating, I guess, a simple structure and pattern to work through. And we're going to see a shorter variation of this type of haircut too. I wonder if we can bring that up alongside it. It's a blonde one, I think. Is that possible, guys? Yeah, that's the one. Nice. Okay, so that's obviously a shorter, slightly different variation. Definitely what you would maybe traditionally say is more like a wolf cut type vibe. Um, these haircuts, the way that we teach them and the way that we would do them in the salon is, you know, using very similar sectioning, very simple sectioning. But the key things are to understand the difference in what the client wants in terms of the length of layering and also how much overall length, like the perimeter, the outline, again, whatever terminology you're using, they want to keep. So, from a consultation point of view, from a client, I'm first of all trying to find out A, how much length they want to keep overall, because it's important to understand if they want it to be super long, that the layers and the length of the layers may have to be adjusted accordingly. Also, we're always looking at the density and texture of the hair. That's going to come into it, whatever haircut we talk about today. But we're also thinking about things like what they're doing at home. The thing about most of the pictures we're going to talk about today, and most of the things that I'm seeing that stylists want to learn, is because they are finding these haircuts soft, feminine, lots of movement. They're easy to manage for the client. They take very little styling. And that is a great way for us to really focus on getting a great haircut, and that the client can repeat how it's styled and how it looks and get that great results at home. So I'm focusing on length first. And then, of course, the key features are always a big focus, and then they become the point in which we start the haircut, right? So in both of these haircuts, the shaping around the front, the fringes, the bangs, again, whatever language we're using, these are the focal points of the haircut. So these become the most important part to the client, because they want to see, is it sitting where I hoped it would sit around my face? Is it the length I wanted it to be? Am I going to be able to manage that length? All of those things become really important. So I like to start my haircut from that point, and we start it from there when we're teaching it, because then straight away the client can see if it's the right length, the right shape, and what they're feeling like they want it to be like. And then we base the rest of the length of the haircut around those decisions and those choices. But it's really helping the client to visualize, moving the hair around, holding it in place, often scrunching it around so it's got that more movement. From a hair type perspective with these haircuts, there are maybe a couple of hair types. They're very versatile, but there are a couple of hair types that I would potentially avoid doing them on. And that is the super, super thick, real coarse hair. I have a couple of clients that have that real coarse hair, bordering on got that wave to it. Some of them have maybe smoothing or keratin type treatments. But their hair texture, if you layered it that much, it would end up sort of expanding, having more width to it, and having a lot more body than they would like, and it wouldn't reflect the looks that they're seeing in the pictures. Because as we know, a lot of this is about managing expectations of our clients too, right? Is these two beautiful young women with beautiful hair are pictures that come up regularly on Google for a reason. And so it's about managing our expectations from a client perspective of, is their hair going to be similar? Does it work in the same way as these pictures? You know, often people ask, would you avoid doing this on fine hair? And I would say not necessarily, because as you can see from the blonde picture, sometimes the wispiness and the softness and the feathery nature of the kind of ends of this haircut is what people want. So if the hair is fine, often that is totally okay, and it works with the style and with the shape and what they're trying to achieve. But most importantly in the consultation with these type of haircuts, it's a lot of moving it around, a lot of showing the client exactly how it's going to look on their face, discussing keeping the length and where that sits, and then really building on my technique around those decisions that the client and I make together. And then it's about me advising her on what I think is best in terms of manageability, length of layers, how long it's going to take to grow out, and all of those things that come into that process.
When you're having a look at that through consultation, Alex, what would be your advice? Do you know how when you get that gut feeling when you're talking about like expectations and stuff,
Yeah,
the right way to approach if a client's like, I want it really long here and I want it really short here, and you're like, that's not going to work.
yeah.
But this
Then
is what
then I
really
mean,
want.
look, I'm super honest. Maybe that's my I've been cutting hair a little while, so maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's the confidence I have in what I do in terms of hair cutting, and that's maybe through knowledge or understanding, or just like actually through making mistakes. Like over the years when I was younger, someone would bring me in a picture, show me something, I would think that looks really cool, let me do it because I was excited to do it, and actually don't necessarily think about the consequences and the results. But
Yeah,
learning from those processes, like I'm really strong in the advice I give. I am very, very forthright in saying I don't think that's going to work for you. And it's not like you can't have a haircut. It's like we've got to adjust this length. We might have to compromise on maybe the overall length. If you really want that kind of layered feel, then it's about compromising some of the length to get you that result. So it's just about reaching those compromises and getting those results that the clients are
yeah,
super happy with, but that works with their hair. Because ultimately, if we do something that doesn't work with their hair, they're never going to be able to manage it or maintain it at home, and then nobody wins.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. Right,
cool.
I've got the next one up here.
Yeah, should we slide that one over to the other, and then I think the
Yep,
one behind it is another little shorter kind of. Oh no, it's not. Oh, hey,
that's
what
okay.
do I know? Yeah, that's fine. Let's just do the long one. We'll talk about the long one, and then we'll talk about the. Oh, you've done it. Perfect. That's amazing. Let's do these two together. So, interestingly, the picture of the blonde lady again and the longer length was something that somebody sent me right at the beginning of this year when they were booking some education, and they said to me, um, my team and I, like, we really want to learn these kind of variety of haircuts. One of which is this new for 2024, this on trend kind of kitty cut is what they called it. And I said, sorry, what are you talking about? Like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, I've not even heard of and when you Google it, like, I'm sure you could put any word in front of haircut and Google it and it would bring you up something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But it was like, this is what came up, and this image came up over and over again. And then I don't know if the journal did a article on some trends and stuff like that. And like, I've seen this buzzword like floated about a little bit, but again, like, these are really simple haircuts that we often overcomplicate and overthink because it's a trend,
Yeah.
right? And like, again, let's start with the blonde one, right? You could vary this haircut depending on the client and depending on their hair type. But she looks like, to me, she has medium to thick kind of density of hair, but maybe the individual hair is quite fine, as in the texture of the hair, right? So, like, for me, it looks like that all of the length on her, the perimeter, all comes to the same point. So what we would maybe traditionally have called, like, you call the one length type haircut, of that kind of a bit longer than collarbone length. And then she's got these kind of bangs that look like they're growing out a little bit, but it gives it a really cool shape. And of course, wherever she is in the world, somewhere like Paris or London or wherever, the wind's blowing and it looks really cool, right? But this is
Yeah.
what people that this is when I talk about managing expectations with clients, and talking about what it looks like in reality, because that haircut in reality, it is good because it's easy to manage. It doesn't require a lot of blow drying or attention unless you have maybe a coarser hair texture, a hair texture that needs smoothing. But if you have this kind of medium texture, naturally smooth-ish, let's say, without overcomplicating with language and terminology, this haircut works really well. If you wanted to tweak it and change it, you could maybe add some kind of gentle layering through the shape where it gave it some more movement. But ultimately, having that kind of chunkier, fuller feel on the ends really is what makes the look, paired with the fringe bangs area as well. So I think from a client perspective, in terms of advice, it's understanding that the common things that would happen with that haircut are you okay with the fact it's going to hit your shoulders and kick out a little bit, right? Is number one, because it's not a bob and it's not long hair. It's in between the two, mid-length hair. It's going to kick out a bit. It's going to have that more movement to it. Are you okay with that? Yeah, great, no problem. We can move forward. That might be a client that says, do you know what? I want that kind of bobby length, but I want it long enough to tie up to go to the gym. Perfect. That will definitely do that. But you can style that wavy. You can leave it naturally kind of undone type texture. My partner has a very similar haircut to that, maybe slightly shorter. And, we have young children. So in terms of styling time and all that, she doesn't have lots. And it works really well. It works really well whether she blow dries it, whether she just leaves it to dry naturally. Like, it's very versatile and adaptable. And I think clients like that kind of look for sure.
Yeah.
With any more on that before I move on to the short one, Samantha? Anything you feel like is relevant to talk about from a consultation point of view? I feel like that one's nice and easy in the
Yeah,
sense of advice and giving advice for people.
absolutely. And as you say,
Yeah.
it's simple for a client to maintain as well.
Yeah, it's super easy. And like I said, for me, the relatability to my partner and her hair, because we went from like long to shorter, and it is just about, like, she wants it to look cool, but not super short. Wants to
Yeah.
tie it up occasionally, running around picking the kids up, go to the gym, go
Practical.
shopping.
It's a
It's a per
practical, yeah, it's
Yeah.
practical. As you say,
Yeah,
you can tie it
but
up.
if you're going out, it looks really cool, right? Because you can style it and make it look amazing and make it look really glam if you want to. So it's very versatile, that one. But
Yeah,
again, the approach to it is simple, and it's all what we have to understand as hairdressers is a lot of these looks become about the styling. I posted something on my social the other day about styling. It was just a very short video clip about it was me smoothing out someone's hair basically and saying, for example, on that bob shape, the dark hair next to this, where it's wavy, it was about me saying about checking and making sure our haircuts are perfect before we style in this different way. And it was one of those that kind of divided opinion, I guess, a little bit on social. It's gone absolutely mad on Facebook for some reason. It's like Facebook Reels I think it's like 1.8 million views now.
dude,
Um, and
wow.
it's literally a 5-second video, which is mental. There's nothing to it, but it's just that whole like divisive nature of opinions and like the fact that I'm saying, really, as a haircutter and a haircutting educator, if you were doing that haircut, I'd really love you to blow dry it smooth and check it's perfect first before you style it.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
effectively what I'm saying, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
When we move on to the short one, the things that you want to look out for and talk about with your clients, right? Because look, that girl is beautiful, right?
Stunning.
And so having hair that short is no problem, right? Because it looks amazing. And like, if we all have lots and lots of clients that look like her, then that's nice. Lucky you, they make your work look beautiful. But the reality is, we don't all have hundreds of those clients, right? And we have to understand different hair types, different face shapes, different body shapes, different styles. And I know that's very cliche to say because it's things we talk about all the time, but the reality is to wear your hair that short, that sharp, that strong, you have to have a certain face shape, right? For it to work. And I think that for me, my biggest thing for my clients would be making and helping them to understand based on their face shape, the
Yeah.
suitability, based on how they style their hair again. Like, are you going to do it, blow dry it? That's another one that actually can be really easy to manage, doesn't necessarily need lots of work. But again, depending on your hair type, if you have thick, coarse, frizzy, strong hair, you can't leave it natural because it just will go like this and be this kind of triangular shape that nobody wants. And so it's about understanding in relation to the hair type what length is going to work in terms of when they're styling that hair at home. And I think they are the key focuses from a client consultation perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have no double chins.
Well, listen, no double chins. I got clients with no necks, Samantha. You know, so how'd you work those ones out? Look, we all have these different things and nuances that we have to work with our clients.
Yeah.
You know, but the reality is it has to be right for that person. You know, and so, but for us, the overall thing is like be strong enough to advise and actually consult. Like that people are there for our advice. No,
Yeah.
they don't always maybe want it. It doesn't need to be direct. You don't need to be rude to people, but we are there as professionals, and I think that that's important.
Absolutely. Yeah. And making sure that that you're giving that advice and they're taking it
Mm,
on board. And I think one of the little phrases that I tend to use sometimes is, we could do this,
yeah,
but you will get this.
yeah,
And they do tend to kind of back off a little bit more. But as you're saying, Alex, it is having the confidence to be able to say, no, here's an alternative.
yeah. Agreed. And again, I relate it to another video recently on Instagram instead of Facebook that I posted where it was like somebody came in, showed me a picture, right, of like a short little bob, and but then said, "Oh, I just don't want very much off." But
Yeah.
was telling me everything she was telling me was like she wanted it to be easy. She wanted it to clear her shoulders and not kick out. She wanted it to look really sharp, but then
Yeah.
said she didn't want very much off. And
Yeah.
the video I posted was again just saying like she only wanted a trim. like like that was what she thought she could have and create that look. But on consultation, like, okay, look, we can get that look and I can make your hair look, she had lovely hair. I can make your hair look exactly like that picture, no problem. You have beautiful hair, but you have to
Yeah.
have more, you have to have more cut off. You
Yeah.
just have to. And you can't not have more cut off if you want that look. If you don't want that look, I can cut less off, totally cool, no problem. But that's not how, you know, that you
But it
most
ain't going to
people to
look like
understand that.
that.
Yeah, you can't have both, is my point.
That's it.
Okay, so this long, beautiful, flowing hair. Look, this comes under the same category, I guess, as the first two we talked about a little bit of the whole butterfly cut type vibe. I mean, we've talked a lot about the consultation of these haircuts. I guess to mix it up, maybe from a technique perspective and an actual haircutting perspective. Like I've seen this taught in a million different ways, some of which are really cool and they work really well, some of which are really complicated. And for me, everything we do, everything we teach, everything we're trying to achieve is about simplicity, is about making it commercial, making you be able to achieve these results in salon times. So, like, yeah, if you take these two looks, for example, that there are some differences overall, of course, in the way that it looks. Obviously, hair type being one, length being another, and length of layers being the biggest and key difference. But effectively, when we teach these haircuts, we are going about them in the same way. There are as fewer variables as possible. So when we I've seen it taught where you might stand in front of the mannequin or model or whatever when we're in the teaching environment, but in front of the client and you're pulling it forward, lifting it up, tilting your arms. there's so many variables, and there's so many things that could happen, could go wrong, could be affecting getting the balance on both sides of the haircuts and all these things. So it's about finding a simplistic and easy way to do these haircuts, create these beautiful looks with that is repeatable time and time and time again in the salon. That's what's important.
Perfect. Right, let's bring us back up.
What we got next?
Let's
Is
see.
that it? Are we done
That's
them?
us. Yeah, that's us.
These are just to clarify, right? These are some of the most common things that people are asking for. And was there not a short one?
I thought that. I said that to you underneath. There was
Fine,
definitely
doesn't
short.
matter. I'll tell you what I'll do, right? I'll just quickly pop it on my phone. I appreciate it's slightly different, but I'll put my phone right up to the camera and I'll just show you guys and we'll just talk about this little short one. Okay,
Yeah,
so this little one here. Oh, get some focus on it, mate.
love it. It's
Okay,
stunning.
so yeah, so that haircut, right, is something that I'm getting people asking for again with education, right? Now, when you look at that haircut, it looks and could be super scary for some hairdressers. It can be, how on earth do I do that? It's complicated. How do I get the combination of long and short? How do I make it look soft and feminine as well as being short? And again, it's just about breaking these haircuts down. You have to have the right client for that sort of look. You have to have someone, again, with the right face shape and the right style. But on the right client, those looks can be absolutely beautiful. And then what I would say to you is break them down into simple, easy steps and processes where you're dealing with different areas at a time. So you're dealing with the back and the shortness of the shape in the back first. Then you're dealing with the length on the sides and maybe leaving kind of some disconnected type panels in the bottom to just leave some length. And then you, of course, deal with the top and the fringe areas. So when you break them down like that, it helps you to literally just focus on those areas of the haircut and then minimizes confusion. These haircuts are all just combinations of techniques, combinations of layering, graduation, line, one length. They're all combinations of what we all already know, but it's having the confidence to break them down, systemize it, give it some structure, and actually put them together as one is
Yeah,
what people often struggle with.
yeah, yeah, totally correct. We were always taught that is there 7 or 8 kind of a basic haircuts, and
Mm,
everything that evolves from that is a combination of one of them, or
yeah.
2 or 3 of them that you can put together.
Yeah. When we build our education and when people come, because nearly all of the education I do is bespoke, created for the salons or stylists. We do have pre-built courses that are like pre-written, pre-done, as in like short hair, curly hair, whatever it might be. But the bottom line is every salon's different, every stylist within that salon is different, and nobody wants the same thing twice. So, whether it's they might have something they struggle with, whether they might want some inspiration, whatever it is, and whatever level they're at in their career or their journey, we build it bespoke. So when people bring me those pictures to show us they want to learn those type of haircuts, we're very clear that no problem, we can go through those haircuts, but I want them to understand how that relates to the salon, how it's adaptable, how you can use the technique for other things, what hair you would use it on, what hair you wouldn't use it on. It becomes not about the actual haircut and more about the approach to the haircut, which is the most important.
Yeah. So what would you say would make a great, what is the qualities of a great haircut?
Uh, for me, it's the process in which you go through when you cut hair is systematic. It, of course, changes from client to client, shape to shape, haircut to haircut, but it's having a process, having a system, having a structure that you can feel confident in repeating time after time. So the consultation, as we've already discussed, with these kind of looks is crucial to get the consultation right, making sure the client's happy with how it looks, making sure you're both on the same page, number one, because being a good listener to your clients is one of the most important parts of cutting hair. I mean, how many times have we heard people say they cut too much off? It wasn't what I wanted. It looks nice, but they didn't really listen. Like, all those things are problems really for clients that shouldn't happen. That's the easy part, listening and understanding, and then creating your shape. And then it's about being systematic in the approach. So clean sections, neat sections, the real fundamental things. And then it becomes about making sure we see that process through and understand. A classic example is when we see people cut maybe graduated bob type shapes. They cut these shapes, and there can be some heaviness and some kind of weight, excess weight at the back of a haircut. And the thing that people want to do when they see that weight is come through either holding the hair out and point cutting into it, or even texturizing scissors, or basically smash it to pieces, right? And because it looks heavy. Now, what we're trying to do is help people to understand why it's heavy in the first place. Is it because the length on the top part of that section is too long for the underneath? And so if you make it shorter, it will flow better, sit better. And for me, that what makes a great haircut is making it easy for my clients to manage at home. I'm not doing anything that they can't look after and can't style and doesn't look nice. It's going 6, 7, 8 weeks and the hair's still looking beautiful when they come in. That is really important. Yes, it
Yeah.
looks longer. Yes, the shape has changed a little, but it still looks beautiful. That's really important to a great haircut. And it's really each part of the process you do, it's paying attention to the detail of that, and it's being strong enough to give the advice along the way. Like, we do our hair cutting technique when the hair is wet. We make sure we're happy. We blow dry and style, and maybe your client wants it to be curled or waved, whatever that is. Maybe we actually decide, you know what, I need to blow dry this straight and smooth to check your haircut before I style it, and it's being strong enough to say that. And then, of course, the finishing of haircuts and refining of the shapes when they're dry is crucially important too. That we spend enough time on that part of the process, because that can take it from being a good haircut to a great haircut.
Yeah. There's a big, massive divide at the moment about texturizing scissors. Some love them, some hate them. Personally, me, I think you can create without using them, but I don't think they're a bad thing if you know how to use them properly. What would you say?
I would say that every tool we have in our repertoire has a place.
Yeah.
And I would say that somebody designed them and made them somewhere for a reason, right? And whether we like them, dislike them, use them, don't use them, same with razors, right? They can be divisive of opinions, but they all have a place. And I would say if you're using these things properly and not just smashing haircuts to pieces and taking loads of weight out of it, then fine. But when we teach, and when we're teaching people to cut hair, put it this way, they are not something we use. And I don't believe they are hugely necessary day to day, client to client, education session to education session. It's not something we do when the technique is good, when the shape is right, and with the right kind of refining techniques like point cutting, or whether it be that or slicing or refining the outlines or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You shouldn't need them very much at all.
Yeah, no, I get that because I was brought up 3 decades ago in the hairdressing industry, and you would cut short hair and you would batter it with your texturizing scissors to blend,
Yeah,
where
but
you
the
can
blending comes from the lack of quality in the shape in the beginning, right?
absolutely.
And this is the point: is shapes flow, and they look seamless when they're cut correctly. You can lay a hair really quite short on longer hair, and it look amazing and seamless and flow if the way in which you layer it is correct for the shape you're trying to create.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you need to smash it to pieces, take loads of weight out of it because the layers look heavy. If they look heavy, it's because somewhere in that haircut there is something that is letting it down from a technical cutting perspective, which is our biggest focus, really.
Yeah. The next question I have here for you, Alex, is social media, right? Now, we all understand it's the same with colouring and stuff, techniques. You've got the filters, you've got the exaggeration side of it. So, social media completely and utterly runs away with everybody. How do you make it organic, or how do you keep it organic?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's such a massive thing, and like for me as an educator, like I reckon as a percentage, I would be as big a percentage as probably 80 to 85% of my education bookings coming through social. So for me, it's massive, right? It's super important. And what I'm trying to get across when I'm posting on social, let's say, is I'm trying to give as much value as possible. Now, I've changed strategy over the years multiple times to try and help get better results. Of course, you're always battling with that. I think the battle people have is post what you want to post and make it look nice, feel nice, you be happy with it. But I want to build my following. So where do I meet in the middle? And
Yeah,
and what works, right? For me, like it's all about I want personally to give value as much as I can. So I'm posting tips, tricks, hints, um, taking video snippets of me cutting hair, of people cutting hair, or I'm teaching of, can you see that little mistake there? How would you change that? And it's keeping it basically organic to what I'm doing
yeah,
personally. And I think that if you do that, number one, it's easier to get content. I find it really interesting when people say, "Oh, I just struggle. I haven't got any content." And I feel like that comes from this desire to get the perfect picture, which
totally agree.
which doesn't exist. Like I gave up a long time ago trying to get the perfect picture, which if you look through my social media is the reason I don't really post pictures, is because I don't like it. It doesn't work for me only. Everyone's different, and trust me, there are some people posting the most amazing pictures I've ever seen, but it doesn't work for me. I found it very difficult to create that kind of social media for myself, and so I've gone down the road of using video, and I like it more. I feel like for what I'm doing, I like to post the process of what I'm doing. So very rarely am I posting pictures of haircuts. It's all as much advice as I can possibly give, and then that then kind of keeps translating into, people come to you for maybe more advice, right? But I think keeping it organic, back to the question, sorry, and authentic is like, if you don't love it and you're posting for the sake of posting, or you're struggling to get content, or you're posting things that you don't really like how they look, feel, sound, come across, then you should not do that. Make sure you keep it real to you in the sense of it directly correlates to what you're trying to do with it. So whether that be using it in the salon to get clients, whether it be you're aspiring to be an educator and you're trying to develop more knowledge on the situation or on the subject matter that you're trying to deliver, or whether you're trying to get in front of brands because maybe that interests you, or fashion week, or whatever it is, like keep it related to what you're trying to achieve and what your ultimate goal is, because that is ultimately the most important. And for me, it's about providing education to people on a daily basis as much as I can. So my
Yeah,
like feed on Instagram is all like short videos, really short, 5 to 7, 8 seconds, just punchy little tips, tricks, hints, whatever. Occasionally, very occasionally, we might post about a course going on or something like that. But because everything I do is bespoke, I don't sell things that, like, I don't sell tickets to courses very often at all, because we don't often have a venue and sell individual tickets to stylists. We are all just a salon, a group of stylists. Do you know what I mean? So I don't need to post like selling tickets to events, which I find for me works nicely, because I'm not asking for things very often from the audience. If I want to post about things like that, I might do that on the story. Like, we've got dates
Yeah.
available, or we've got courses, or we've got stuff like that. I might use my story for that. And I also quite like, as people can probably tell from this very live, I quite like a chat. So I often just face the camera talking about what's going on, really. But
Yeah.
there are lots of great people on social, but for me, it's like, document what you do over trying to create. So if you're documenting, it's real, it's authentic, it comes naturally to you because it's easy. And if you're trying to create, like, I see a lot of advice and a lot of people doing this whole, like, having a content creation day. And like, for me, I just find that crazy, to be perfectly honest. Like, you can create content every single day by just document what you do, and there will be people out there that find it interesting and they like it, whether it be prospective clients because you're documenting what it looks like to be in the salon every day and give them a feel of it, or whether it's as an educator, you're documenting you delivering education, and
Yeah.
other people might see, like, document over creation is crucial.
Definitely. Well, it's been amazing, and I've absolutely loved just chatting to you. I like a wee chat as well, like, so we're all
Me
right
too.
there. We love enough to have you coming back with us to do an actual live, so being able
Yeah.
to put into practice what we've been chatting about today, on the 7th of May, 5 o'clock. Am
Yeah,
I?
7th of May, 5 o'clock, we're gonna do a haircut, right? So
Yeah.
I've got a really cool model. I went to a salon yesterday to do education, delivering education, and the salon is like local-ish to me. And this girl, like, I walked in and this girl's hair is wicked. It's like really cool, like mullety type vibe. And I'm just like, straight away, when you just think, I want to cut your hair, really. And then we'd been chatting about a date, and I think I messaged you, didn't I, to say,
Yeah.
I've got a model, so let's
Yeah.
do it, right? It was like,
Yeah.
so I just wanted to cut her hair straight away. So it's going to be a bit of a different one for me. Stuff I've done on here before has maybe been a bit shorter. It's been sort of classic, but still soft. And so this will be super soft, super feminine, but something a bit cooler, which I'm super excited about doing.
That sounds amazing. I'm totally looking
Yeah.
forward to that one.
Yeah.
So, what would be your closing thoughts now that we're coming to the end of your little sofa session that we've got here? What piece of little advice or a little nugget, light bulb moment? What kind of advice would you give everybody to take away with them? Because it would be great to hear what your closing thoughts were.
Yeah. I think from a in salon perspective, let's base it around that, right? Because a lot of people on the platform are stylists in salon, working behind the chair 5 days a week, and really kind of maybe looking for things to take back to the salon as something that makes their life easier and more, I guess, improves perhaps what they do on a day-to-day basis. And I would say that keep things simple as possible. Really, really try to focus on the simplicity of haircutting, making it. If you get something that feels complicated, that feels like it might be challenging to create, go back to your roots and break it down. How do you approach different areas of that haircut and really understand the simplicity of it? It's either layered, graduated, or it's like aligned, one length, whatever you want to call it. But it's, go back to the simplicity of, in what area of the head is what technique, where's layered, where's graduated, and really just take a step back, simplify what you do, make sure you have great communication with your clients, make sure you really show them what it is the hair's going to look like, how it's going to look, move it around, and be strong enough to give them advice, be strong enough to give them what they need in terms of your professional opinion. And then from there, you can go ahead and use your techniques to create the look and get it bang on every time, giving you more confidence in what you're doing.
Excellent. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. And thanks on behalf of Platform Live
Thank
for
you.
taking time out your day, Alex. And I know your time is so
Appreciate
precious.
it. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's always great to connect with you guys. It's always great to like support the community on platform. Like it, I love it. It's been so great to see everybody joining and it evolving and developing all the time. And that's why like I do want to give up my time to be here, and I do want to do the free haircutting tutorials. And I did like, because for me, again, as I said before, same as with social, it's about providing as much value as we possibly can.
It is, and it's just that growth value as well, isn't it? It's amazing. I love Platform
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Love it. Love
Me
it.
too.
Grow together. Yes, definitely. So thank you again, and I will be in touch, Alex, and we'll be communicating
Thank you.
for your next live on the 7th of May at 5 p.m. Again,
Perfect. I'll look forward to it. Thanks,
thank
Samantha.
you. See you
Take care.
later. Bye,
Bye.
Alex. Right, guys. Well, I don't know what you think about that, but I thought it was absolutely awesome. And I started off as a cutter years ago and then came back into the colour side of it and became a colourist. But the light bulb moments that I had there was the taking it back to basics, to not overthinking, to seeing that we have our basic haircuts and that everything is sort of a combined from there. You can create a haircut using 3 of our basic understanding of our sectioning techniques. I am so excited that Alex is coming back, as I said, on the 7th of May at 5 p.m. If there is any questions that you need to ask that we've not been able to ask Alex today, if you just get below and pop the questions in. If you tag me in it and tag Alex in it as well, and we can follow that. What we want to do is we want to get the rapport going. We want to get the communication going. We want to get the growth going. So I am going to also pop the link, the shorter link in the question box, or I'll put it underneath anyway, of the free link, so that you can copy and paste it and invite all your friends, all the hairdressing friends along to come and join us, so that we can grow all together and we can all learn. Okay, thanks so much for your time, guys. I'll see you soon.